Well, it turns out that for years, even Tylenol has been saying they don't recommend their products for pregnant women, that they haven't been tested on pregnant women. But of course, in an attempt to own Donald Trump liberals, this one that I'm about to show you is actually a doctor, no less, took to social media to show off popping pain pills while pregnant.
28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm going to take? Some Tylenol, acetaminophen. It's going to work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism.
You know, I didn't think it could happen to me, but just recently someone stole my information and actually bought a car under my name in Texas. While I was standing in the Idaho DMV getting my new driver's license, a thief was driving off the dealer lot pretending to be me. And I only caught it because I was getting bombarded with alerts. Now imagine if I hadn't seen them in time. And this is exactly why today's sponsor, Aura, matters. If you've ever wondered how scammers get your personal info, your phone number, your address, even where you supposedly work, it's because of data brokers. These shady companies collect your data and sell it to anyone, from marketers to scammers, and they make billions doing it. They don't ask your permission. And while they're legally required to remove your info if you ask, they make the process nearly impossible on purpose. Believe me, I'm going through it right now. But if I had Aura set up before, this thief would have had a much harder time. Aura automatically scans and scrubs your information from those data broker sites, and then it keeps it off. It also gives you real-time fraud alerts, so instead of finding out a day later that someone used your name, you get notified right away. That's the kind of tool I wish I had in place when all of this happened. But Aura is more than just removing your data from shady brokers. It's an all-in-one digital security app. It alerts you if your personal info is found on the dark web. It monitors your credit and bank accounts in real time. It gives you a secure VPN, password manager, antivirus, and more. And if something does happen, Aura covers you with up to $5 million in identity theft insurance and 24/7 US-based fraud support. The fact that companies profit off of our stolen data while we're left vulnerable is outrageous. I learned that the hard way. But I'm not leaving myself unprotected anymore, and you shouldn't either. Protect yourself and your family with Aura. Try it free for 14 days at aura.com/Kim Iverson. And in just 2 weeks, Aura will show you where your personal data is being exposed and start scrubbing it off the internet automatically. Again, that's aura.com/Kim Iverson. Wow. That's insane. These are pain pills. I mean, you're popping pain pills while you're pregnant. I mean, put that into perspective. This isn't just Tylenol, acetaminophen. These are pain pills. And okay, pump yourself full of them while you're pregnant. And I'm sure that won't have any effect whatsoever. Medication, pain pills, I'm sure it won't have anything, any sort of negative effect on your kid. I mean, whether or not this news came out with Donald Trump and RFK Jr. saying that there's a link between acetaminophen and autism, even if that didn't come out, why would you do this? Why would you do this? You're pregnant. These are pain pills. You think it's good to shove those down your baby's throat? I don't know. Just liberals have just, anything to own Donald Trump. But it turns out Tylenol has actually been saying on their social media page for quite a long time, since, over 10 years, that they do not recommend any of their products for pregnant women. In fact, here is the tweet here. This is from 2017. Tylenol saying, "We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns today." This was March 7th of 2017 that they put this tweet out. "We actually don't recommend using any of our products while pregnant." It's interesting because a lot of people were saying that after Trump made his announcement that there would be a lot of lawsuits coming from Tylenol, that they'd be suing the administration. But actually, Tylenol's been saying all along, we don't recommend this for pregnant women. We haven't tested on it. Here's another tweet from Tylenol. This is from 2019. And says right here, hope you had some, this is these are responses to tweets that have since been deleted. But the bottom one there says, "Congratulations on your upcoming edition. So exciting. It'd be great to touch base and real quick, since we haven't tested Tylenol to be used during pregnancy, and see what coupons we have for baby. Call us when you can." Blah, blah, blah. Okay, but they said, we haven't tested Tylenol to be used during pregnancy, is what it says right there. Now, Tylenol officially, so this is what they've said on their social media pages. We have not tested Tylenol during pregnancy. We do not recommend any of our products for pregnant women. That is, it's true. It's true and somewhat true. So Tylenol's position has been, they have never tested any of their products on pregnant women. That is true. They've never done it. They have no clinical trial data because it's considered unethical to. And in fact, many products are not tested on pregnant women because it's considered unethical to do so. So they don't do clinical trials on pregnant women. That is also why the COVID vaccine wasn't tested on pregnant women. There's just very, very few drugs are tested on pregnant women. That part's true. What has happened, though, is that over time, the FDA has said that, with the backing of a medical professional, basically, that Tylenol would be safe to use during pregnancy. And so Tylenol's official position has essentially been, so their manufacturer, Kenvue, officially recommends its acetaminophen products as the safest pain and fever relief for pregnant women, provided use follows the product labeling and medical advice. The recommendation is reflected in both the company's product packaging. They say, consult a doctor, where it advises pregnant users to consult a healthcare professional, and in public statements referencing current OB and medical guidelines. Okay, so they basically default to the medical community, and they've said, trust your doctor. So they don't do an official recommendation for pregnant women. They just say, pregnant women be advised, consult a medical professional before using. But then they do say, but we are the safest and the most effective, we're the safest pain and fever reducer for pregnant women. And that may be true, but it doesn't mean it's safe. I mean, if you're the safest out of a group of a bunch of pain pills that are not safe at all, what is that actually saying? And I think that's the point of the Trump administration and the links to autism, right? Is it saying, okay, yeah, Tylenol has been, so women have been using Tylenol forever. It's been considered safe. It's certainly safer than using a lot of other pain pills that you could potentially be using. It is safer than ibuprofen, apparently, depending on what you're considering safe. I don't know exactly what ibuprofen does to a baby, but let's say it's something, let's say some pain reliever or fever reducer you're going to use ends up with your child having a cardiac arrest. That is obviously, death of the baby is obviously worse than autism. So you could then say, well, then Tylenol and the risk of autism is safer than some other XYZ pain pill and the risk of death. Yeah, I mean, you could say that, but which would be true. And I think a lot of people, if they have a really high fever and they have to bring their fever down, a medical professional would absolutely make that deduction and say, okay, I could give them this fever reducer, which could kill the kid, or I could give them this fever reducer, which may result in autism. But I have to reduce the fever because if I keep the fever going, that's going to result potentially in death of both of them. So obviously you're going to pick the least concerning of the group of concern, concerning. It's a highly concerning group, but at least you're going to go with the lesser of all of the evils. So Tylenol saying, we're the safest. That's true. It's been true up to this point. Might even still be true. But that doesn't mean that Tylenol's been recommending this for pregnant women. And certainly a doctor popping pills on TikTok in order to own Donald Trump is insane. Harvard actually was the one that came out with this study. They're not the first to come out with this, but they did come out with this about a month ago. So Trump just didn't come out with this. This wasn't RFK Jr. doing his own research and then handing it over to Trump and Trump taking the podium saying, all right, guys, don't use Tylenol, ladies. Don't use Tylenol, do something else. Harvard actually came out and said the use of acetaminophen during pregnancy may increase children's autism and ADHD risk. This came out in August, and they went over a lot of different studies. The research, they looked at everything, and they said, yeah, there is a link between Tylenol and autism. And this is, like I said, they're not the first to have come up with this, because I want you to look at this image here. This is Reuters then and now. 2013, all the way back in 2013, Reuters was reporting on a study that was done saying too much Tylenol in pregnancy could affect development. And now, fast forward to 2025, Trump links autism to Tylenol and vaccines, claims not backed by science, even though Harvard, unless you think Harvard Medical School is not actually filled with a bunch of science, Harvard says actually use of acetaminophen doesn't just link to development issues. This is directly they're talking very specifically about autism and ADHD, maybe other things too, but autism and ADHD specifically in their study. But, you instead get these pregnant doctors popping pain pills while they have their fetuses right there, basically feeding their babies pain pills. I mean, that is what you're doing. When you're pregnant, anything you take in, you fed your baby. Anything you took in, you fed your baby. So preservatives, you're eating a bunch of food with preservatives, you're feeding that to your baby. You're doing a bunch of drugs, you're feeding that to your baby. You're smoking, you're drinking, you're giving that to your baby. Vaccines, you're giving to your baby. Tylenol, pain pills, you're giving to your baby. It is totally, honestly, that should be considered child abuse. If she were to go on camera and chug a mini vodka that she got from the airplane, I think she'd be going to, I don't know if that would result in jail. I'm not really sure what the rules are on that, but certainly she would get a lot of scrutiny from society. But instead, she took a Tylenol and liberals were actually cheering, clapping like baby seals. Just absolutely insane. Just to own Donald Trump, she potentially harmed her own baby. Just to own Donald Trump. Just to own Donald Trump. I absolutely hope nothing ends up wrong with her baby. Certainly. That would be freaking tragic. Absolutely tragic that mom just wanted to own Donald Trump, and so she popped a bunch of pain pills, and now I have autism. What the hell? Yeah. I don't know. I don't even know what to think about that. There's a lot of jokes that were running through my mind right now. I'm just not going to say any of them because they're not good. Okay, bye. Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson Show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.